Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You do not need to feel guilty for eating. You do not need to feel guilty for eating anything. We good? Like so many of you, I struggled with feeling guilty after eating for so long. It was like the minute that I bit into a cookie and took that first bite, it was like a wave of guilt and stress and anxiety like flooded over me. Or the second that my lips touched the ice cream cone, it was like, oh shoot, what did I do? Just immediate guilt. Guilt and then a side of shame for not eating perfectly. So bogus. And that sounds so sad, I know. And I bet that it feels like it's gonna be that way forever, but I am here today to tell you that is not the case. And today I'm gonna share my 5 top tips on how to stop feeling guilty after eating. Okay, tip number 1 is to give yourself permission to eat all foods. This is so key. Here's the deal. When you have no food rules, you give yourself unconditional permission to eat all of the foods, your body will tell you what feels good and what doesn't. You might think you'd want to eat those cookies all day, every day, for the rest of your life. But my guess is that's probably not gonna feel great and your body's gonna tell you that. Sure, you might want those cookies more often in the beginning because they were previously restricted. Yeah, you can have them. Your body's kind of like, I better get this now before they go unrestricted again. But that dies off as it learns, hey, these are not gonna be restricted again. That's pretty cool. Plus, when you have something that you feel like you shouldn't have, something that you feel like is off limits, you are going to want it more often. You're gonna want more of it, and you're gonna feel guilty after eating it. And giving yourself permission to eat a cookie, you are going to have a drastically different experience than if you were to eat it and be like, oh shoot, I shouldn't be eating this. It's gonna be so much more satisfying. You're going to be able to enjoy it, and you're more likely to listen to your body with what feels good and the amounts of those food that feel good. Your body will tell you when it's had enough. Tip number 2 is to use mantras and affirmations. If you guys know me at all, you know I'm obsessed with this stuff. Our minds are so freaking powerful. Our thoughts lead to emotions, which lead to actions. The thoughts that diet culture has planted in our brains to make us think certain ways about food essentially is why we feel this guilt. So we need to rewire this thought process. We do this a lot in the society, and I refer to it as rewiring your brain. It sounds strange, but trust me, it's key. So here's a really tangible way to think about this. So you're going through the woods and you're following a path that you followed for so long, diet culture, and in order to take a new path to create new thought patterns that are going to lead to new emotions and to lead to new actions, you need to start creating that new path. Path isn't just going to appear out of nowhere if you have been traveling down this one for so long. So using mantras and affirmations is a way to start creating that new path. And the more you do that, the more affirmations and mantras that you use, the more clear that path is going to become, and your brain is going to say, oh, that's what I should start going down. I should start going down that path, and it starts to do it automatically. It is a lot of upfront work at first to put into practice those mantras and affirmations, but the payoff of having it be just automatic is so worth it. I have a whole blog post with 20 of my favorite intuitive eating affirmations, so I can link to that in the description, but here are just a couple. Pick whatever one resonates with you and makes you feel like, heck yes. So here we go, a couple of my favorites. I will show my body that it can trust me by not restricting food. The food that I choose to eat does not impact my self-worth. I am more than the food that I eat. Eating is a human right, and it is meant to be enjoyable. How good are those? Pick one. You can even stand in front of yourself in the mirror and just repeat it over and over and over. Use it anytime those feelings of guilt start to seep in. Rewire that brain. Tip number 3 that I have is to occupy your mind elsewhere. And by this, I don't mean to ignore your feelings and the emotions that you're feeling. What I mean is to not ruminate in them. So if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling anxious or whatever it might be, pick something else to do that focuses more on a positive note. Maybe you just had birthday cake at a birthday party and you are having some of those thoughts of guilt. How about you then go and have a conversation with someone else to kind of just take your mind off of it after you use those mantras and affirmations? Just kind of ask yourself, what do I need in this moment to help me cope with this? You can create a list of kind of these self-care activities. I call this kind of your toolkit. So what are some things that you can do if you start to feel that stress, that anxiety, that guilt after eating? Is it you go for a walk, not go for a walk to burn off calories, but but just to get some fresh air, change of scenery, take your mind off things? Is it to use an adult coloring book and just to kind of have a little bit of creativity flowing? Is it to paint your nails? Is it to go talk to a friend on the phone? Whatever it is, create yourself kind of a toolkit. All right, tip number 4 is to talk it out. Do not let those thoughts swirl around in your head, because we're not going to see them for what they are. We're going to see them as 10 times worse if they're just swirling around in there. Whoever you're talking to is likely going to bring you back down to earth, because we likely, like I said, kind of blow things up in our heads and just over exaggerate things. They will get you out of those diet culture storm clouds. Sometimes we all just need a reality check. We have a private Facebook group in the society so that you always have a place to go to talk things out. That was one of the things that I felt like I was missing, was being able to talk about these things. That I felt like it would just kind of bubble up, and then all of a sudden I'd like just explode and all of my emotions would go everywhere, mostly all over my husband, and he would just get the brunt of all my feelings and emotions that I had bottled up. So let it out, talk it out, see things for what they are, what is true, and what are we just kind of making up in our heads and making it way worse. Okay, tip number 5. You guys, if you know me at all, you knew this one was probably coming. Journal it out. If you can't talk to someone, then go to pen and paper and just write down your thoughts. Again, this is going to help you to identify what are true thoughts and what are just thoughts that we've kind of made up, that these diet culture lies that we've been told. Seeing your thoughts on paper can really kind of give you that reality check too. So if you need kind of like a tangible exercise for this, you can go to your journal and pretend that your friend, your best friend, is having these feelings of guilt, these feelings of stress or anxiety, whatever the issues are, and write a letter to them to kind of bring them back down to earth. What would you say to someone else, your best friend, who's having these same issues? Or you could write a letter to your current self from the perspective of your 99-year-old self. And again, that can kind of put things into perspective as well and just give you that reality check that you need. We're a lot kinder to ourselves when we kind of view things from a different lens. A couple other tips I have to really overcome feeling guilty after eating is to know that this is a process. It's not going to automatically disappear overnight. These feelings of guilt are learned. They're learned by society because of diet culture. They're not something that are innate to us, but see that as a positive thing, because that means that we can unlearn them, that we can, like I talked about, create those new pathways in our brains to take a different trail, to take a different journey, and that's exciting. Also, this I know is like so woo-woo, but you have the power over your thoughts. You have the power over your emotions and over your feelings. You get to decide that. You have the power to decide which of your thoughts lead to emotions and lead to actions. And start at that thought piece, like I've said, and try to spin that in a different way to give you the outcome, the emotion, and the action that you're looking for, which is not feeling guilty after eating. All right, guys, there you have it, my 5 top tips on how to stop feeling guilty after eating. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to the channel if you want to see more on how to listen to your body, stop dieting, and my approach to intuitive eating. Also, screenshot yourself watching this video and share it in your Instagram stories and tag me at NoFoodRules. I really love to see what you guys are doing when you are watching these videos. And with that, I will see you next week, same time, same place. See you then.